All right, welcome everyone. Let's step into the mindset of a global chief information security officer for a minute, shall we? Today is May 19th, 2026, and we are standing at a completely critical juncture. We're right at the intersection of artificial intelligence and global financial cybersecurity. And, here is the great irony I may have to confront right off the bat. The absolute greatest threat to our financial security actually happens to be the exact same tool we're using to upgrade it. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack a major development regarding the safeguarding of our worldwide economic networks. We're essentially looking at a situation where the entire architecture of global finance is being fundamentally stress-tested by new technologies. My goal today is to give you a clear, highly focused analysis of this current threat landscape and the strategic partnerships that are literally being formed right now to protect it. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is a quick roadmap for today's explainer on frontier AI risks. We'll start with the executive threat briefing. Then, we'll look at Anthropic and the FSB. Third, the Mythos model explained. Fourth, the dual-edged sword. And finally, number 5, proactive risk management.
So, part 1, the executive threat briefing, and our bottom line up front.
Here is the absolute bottom line for us as executive leaders. Frontier AI possesses the capacity to both fortify and compromise global networks. We literally have to address this immediate systemic threat facing the world's economic infrastructure today. We simply can't view artificial intelligence as just an operational tool anymore. It's not just some faster calculator or an automated customer service bot, right? As AI integrates deeper and deeper into the financial sector, these advanced systems represent massive potential systemic vulnerabilities if they aren't managed with intense precision. I mean, the very same capabilities that allow AI to process vast amounts of financial data so efficiently are exactly what allow it to analyze security infrastructures for minute, totally invisible flaws. This isn't science fiction anymore, folks. This is the absolute reality of our current digital threat landscape. Moving to part 2, Anthropic and the FSB and their strategic partnership.
Let's look at the key actors who are actually taking this on, and how this builds into a coordinated global response. What we're seeing right now is a really crucial 3-step workflow. Step 1. Anthropic, which is a leading AI developer, utilizes its own advanced models and discovers actual real-world vulnerabilities within global cybersecurity infrastructures. Step 2. Now, rather than keeping this siloed away, a strategic partnership is formed directly with the Financial Stability Board, the international body that monitors the global financial system. And Step 3. Together, they are actively informing international regulators of these specific risks. So, systemic gaps in our economic infrastructure are being actively identified in the private tech sector and then escalated directly to global policymakers. It's a truly proactive chain of command for the digital age.
Which brings us to Section 3, the Mythos model explained, focusing on the advanced AI threat vector. So, what is the specific piece of technology actually driving these critical discoveries? Let's establish a baseline so everyone in the boardroom operates from the exact same understanding. Mythos is an advanced frontier AI model developed by Anthropic. Its current, absolutely critical utility is to identify specific cybersecurity weaknesses within complex global economic infrastructures. Look, we are not talking about a generic algorithm here. Mythos represents the absolute bleeding edge of machine learning. It's capable of parsing the incredibly complex, completely interwoven networks that make up our global financial system, and it pinpoints exactly where the digital armor is thinnest. To strip away all the technical jargon for a second, I want you to just keep this real-world analogy in your mind. Think of Mythos as a master locksmith examining a bank vault. Our global financial networks? They are the massive, heavy steel bank vault. They're built to be secure, designed with multiple heavy layers of protection. But Mythos is the master locksmith. It doesn't just look at the heavy door. It maps every single exposed wire, every tumbler, every microscopic stress fracture in the steel. It understands the architecture of the vault so intimately that it can see exactly how the locking mechanism might fail or honestly be bypassed entirely. This leads us right into Section 4, the dual-edged sword, fortify versus compromise. And this brilliantly illustrates the inherent paradox we're dealing with. Building directly on that master locksmith analogy, we can see how the exact same technology can be applied in completely diametrically opposed ways. On one hand, we have fortify, using the insights generated by a system like Mythos to basically design an uncrackable bank vault, significantly upgrading the protection of the whole financial sector. We can patch the holes before they're ever exploited. But on the other hand, we have compromise. The exact same intelligence required to build the perfect lock is the exact intelligence required to pick any lock, exposing massive, systemic cybersecurity gaps. Frontier AI is entirely agnostic. It is the ultimate dual-edged sword. It can be a flawless shield or a devastating weapon against our networks.
This quote right here really anchors our analogy straight back to the core intelligence from our briefing. Regulators are increasingly focused on how frontier AI systems could both strengthen and threaten global cybersecurity infrastructure. This dual nature, that fortify versus compromise dynamic, is exactly what has international regulators on such high alert right now. They fully recognize that the introduction of models like Mythos into the ecosystem changes the rules of the game entirely. For all intents and purposes, the margin for error in financial cybersecurity has effectively shrunk to zero. And finally, Section 5, Proactive Risk Management, the Strategic Imperative.
So the crucial point is, how do we actually transition from simply identifying this threat to executing a strategic solution? If we think about the chronological timeline of these threats, it illustrates why proactive risk management is a permanent structural shift, not just some passing tech trend. In the past, financial institutions largely dealt with isolated digital threats, individual bad actors, specific malware variants, localized phishing scams. But in the present, we're dealing with advanced AI models like Mythos that are capable of identifying broad, systemic gaps across the entire interconnected global network. Looking to the future, as AI fully integrates into literally every facet of the financial sector, essential proactive risk management is the only viable path forward. The days of reactive cybersecurity, waiting for a breach to happen and then patching it, those days are definitively over. So, for the policymakers and C-suite officers joining us, here are the direct, actionable takeaways required to safeguard your specific organizations. First off, acknowledge AI's growing integration into finance. It's here, and it is structural. Second, understand these systemic technological risks deeply. We cannot just delegate this entirely to the IT department anymore. This is a boardroom-level strategic risk. And third, anticipate and patch cybersecurity weaknesses proactively. We have to use AI-driven insights to secure our perimeter before an adversarial AI can map our vulnerabilities. I'll leave you with this final, genuinely critical thought to take back to your respective boardrooms. Is your organization just waiting for AI to find your vulnerabilities, or are you proactively seeking them out right now? Because as models like Mythos have proven without a doubt, the vulnerabilities are there and the master locksmiths are already inspecting the vault. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay vigilant out there, and let's keep learning.